also do find it kind of curious, though, John, that now that the Jacksonville Jaguars have reverted to being the Jags, Nick's disappeared.
Yeah, I think, maybe the wedding is just cover for that. And really, like, he's just been pulling this deep fake where he's in the mountains of Colorado, when in reality, he's just in his man cave, like sulking, like rewatching Trevor Lawrence keep continually missing passes on loop.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome into Monkey Knife Fights NFL Preview Show, Week 6 edition. I'm Dan Watkins. Special guest host this week, John McKechnie, is here from Rotowire.com and our fine college football show. John, what's up, man? Welcome to the NFL show.
Feels good to be here. This is one of those rare instances, very rare, where Nick Whalen is at a wedding. He's had about 47 of those over the last couple of years to go to, but he's out in Colorado. So I hope to do a decent enough job here filling in. Believe it or not, despite all the college football I watch on my off days on Sunday, I also watch a lot of NFL. So hopefully I can print some winners for y'all here.
Not a bad way to spend an off day, that's for sure. I didn't want to blow up our guy Nick's spot, but unfortunately,
I will.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. Everybody needs to pour one out for Nick, as he has fallen victim to a fall weekend wedding, and he had to travel for it. So unfortunately for him, I also do find it kind of curious, though, John, that now that the Jacksonville Jaguars have reverted to being the Jags, Nick's disappeared.
Yeah, I think, maybe the wedding is just cover for that. And really, like, he's just been pulling this deep fake where he's in the mountains of Colorado, when in reality, he's just in his man cave, like sulking, like rewatching Trevor Lawrence keep continually missing passes on loop.
Yeah, he's gone on sabbatical out to Colorado. He's probably doing those weird, like, run pass things with Russ and whatever Denver's doing now, trying to get going. So yeah, thoughts and prayers to Nick on this weekend that he is away. All right, moving on. Let's get right into this, John, because I think there's like two on-field issues that are really just plaguing the NFL right now. One of them is the overcorrection to the market, basically, from all the concussions that we've seen. And now we're just getting roughing the passer calls all over the place. And the other one, which just bugs me, is that teams are just stupidly going for it and going for two, just like nonstop this year. And I don't know why that is. I mean, I do actually have an idea. It's because of the nerds. And my thoughts on the nerds. I hate nerds, but I want to get your thoughts on this, because I know you are a Baltimore Ravens fan, and John Harbaugh is like one of the leader of the analytic crowd.
Yeah, the Ravens famously for the last couple of years have had some Yale guy that kind of, I don't know if he can actually be the bug in Harbaugh's ear, but he does kind of determine on a case-by-case basis whether Baltimore should be going for it. And I was messaging Whalen actually during the Sunday night game, during one of the Ravens' many two-point tries or fourth down attempts. And it's like, I've given up trying to determine whether what they're doing is actually smart or not at any given stage. Like that, the Ravens, I think, are the poster boys of that. Everyone else is trying to catch up, it seems like, in one way or the other, but doesn't really work out. And we're definitely going to be treated to some true idiocy on Monday night, from the nerdy idiocy between Brandon Staley and Nathaniel Hackett. I think two of the biggest offenders, at least thus far this season, when it comes to real head-scratching decisions. So I'm really looking forward to Twitter just having meltdown after meltdown from the poor decisions being made on the field when it comes to those things.
I don't even know if you can blame the nerds with Nathaniel Hackett. I think
No.
I'm going to quote you in your fine tweet from, I believe it was week 1, that Nathaniel Hackett is a nincompoop. And that is just a way to sum up that guy and that coaching experience in Denver right now. But we're not talking about Monday night this week. The roughing the passer stuff, I saw Tom Brady did get fined for kicking Grady Jarrett as he got rolled over, or whatever they called that. That was a weak call. And then Monday Night Football this past week, the Chris Jones on Derek Carr, where he's actually trying to brace himself, he gets called too. So do you think maybe the refs put the flags away a little bit this week?
Yeah, I'm really interested to see. They certainly kind of put him away last night. I thought that some of the one really low hit on Justin Fields, an established quarterback gets that call every time. Like, Josh Allen gets that call, Patrick Mahomes gets that call, Tom Brady certainly gets that call, but Fields, for whatever reason, did not. So early indications are that maybe we see the roughing the passer gets scaled back. The Chris Jones one was really one of the worst things I've ever seen, and I've never really seen the momentum of like the crowd and the bad refereeing kind of compound on itself the way it did Monday night, where the Cheffers, I think it was the referee, sounded almost choked up trying to make some of those calls over his mic. Just so rattled by what was going on out there. So that was not good. But yeah, I think to answer your question more fully, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the flags get put away a little bit this weekend and maybe overcorrect.
Swallow those whistles just a little bit this weekend. Then there's one issue off the field that just seems to never end, and that's the saga of Dan Snyder and the Washington Commanders and his franchise. This week, a report comes out, this very lengthy article from ESPN, that Snyder recently told a close associate that he has gathered enough secrets to, quote, blow up several NFL owners, the league office, and even Commissioner Roger Goodell. Snyder telling that associate the NFL is a mafia, all the owners hate each other. When another owner tells the reporter who wrote this report that that's not true. All the owners just hate Dan. So you grew up in that Washington, D.C. area. What do you make of this whole Dan Snyder situation? Because I feel like we're getting to the end of it now that he's throwing out that, I have all this dirt on everyone. I feel like his back is literally against the wall.
Yeah, it is crazy. And when they panned to him last night during the Thursday night game, and Al Michaels, like the nicest guy, was just openly flambeing him, saying like it'd be good if Dan Snyder was made to sell the team. And yes, like growing up in the DC area, you talk to a Commanders fan, a fan of the Washington football team, and within the first 3 sentences of talking turkey with them, they bring up Dan Snyder. I've never seen that with any other fan base, any other team, where ownership really is that much on the forefront of their minds when it comes to talking about their team. Like the quarterback situation, no. How's the defense looking? No. It's just I hate Dan Snyder, like always through and through. I feel like we've been through. This is the moment where Dan Snyder. This is it. His goose is cooked, and it hasn't happened. But it like you said, this can only go on for so long. And he looked like a frazzled individual last night. He looked like someone who was really sweating some consequences hanging over his head. So we'll see where this goes. It feels like compared to some of the other Dan Snyder stories that have taken over the headlines, this one, it might end up being the most damning one. We'll see.
Yeah, so stay tuned. The league meetings are Tuesday in New York, so I think something's going to come out of that when it comes to this situation. But anyways, there's a full slate of football before we get to that. So let's start off with the 1 o'clock slate. We'll do a little speed round here, John. And let's start off with Tom Brady at Pittsburgh, 280.5 passing yards, more or less, for TB12.
I've got less. Pittsburgh does have a bad defense. I think that a lot of that has to do with Watt and everything being out. They don't have particularly good corner personnel, but Brady, his average depth of target this year, just 7.3, so not really pushing it down the field. His YPA is just 6.8. Again, Pittsburgh's defense, not bad, or pretty bad, but not so bad to where I think that Brady shreds them. And I think this is a game where the run game just sort of takes over in Tampa Bay, and its defense kind of carries it over to a victory for the Bucks. So I think this is a low scoring one. Brady isn't going to have to throw it 50 plus times like he has in recent weeks. I'm going less.
Have you seen the preview for this game that Fox is running? Because I was watching Fox Thursday night. I'm a big Hell's Kitchen fan, John.
Nice.
So I was watching Hell's Kitchen instead of the Thursday night game, but they were running the previews for Tampa at Pittsburgh. And now it's like they're basically just like, Ben Roethlisberger is gone. A new chapter in Tom Brady versus the Steelers. It's just like they can't even hype up Kenny Pickett right now because the Steelers are just so bad.
That is amazing. That classic Bucks Steelers rivalry that we all know and love.
Yeah, absolutely. I never thought we would see a world where we'd be actually really talking about the Steelers possibly getting the number 1 overall pick, but it seems like we're heading that way.
You know what? I don't hate that new world.
Fair enough. All right, next up, Nick Chubb taking on the Patriots at home, 89.5 rushing yards, more or less, for Chubb.
So Patriots obviously very good against the run, and they're going to know that Jacoby Brissett, very limited, probably not going to be throwing the ball a ton. So a lot of the focus is going to be on Chubb. But I think if he gets the 20 carries that we're accustomed to seeing out of him, he clears this number. Like, tough defense noted here, but I think the Chubb is just kind of having that type of season where it's going to be hard for any defense to hold him under 100 if he's getting 20 carries.
Yep, I agree. All right, next up, Justin Jefferson at Miami, 100.5 receiving yards, more or less for JJ.
Very detailed answer here. Yes, more.
All right, fair enough. Matt Ryan at home against Jacksonville, 245.5 passing yards, more or less.
I'm going with more. I think Indianapolis, if Jonathan Taylor is out or if he's hampered, I think that this turns a little bit more to Matt Ryan. It looks like Alec Pierce is kind of ascending to that much needed second target in that offense that they really needed outside of Michael Pittman. This is the second time that Ryan will have faced this defense in like just a month. So I think that he figures things out. Things don't look as bad this time around as they did in Jacksonville. It's in the Dome. I think this sets up well for Ryan to clear this.
All right, next up, we got Mark Andrews at the Giants, 75.5 receiving yards, more or less.
I'm going with more. Looks like Rashad Bateman's going to be out again, so I think that puts an even bigger onus on Andrews here. Should see 10-plus targets. His yards per target this year lagging a little bit behind his career norms. I think that starts to correct here. Give me the more.
All right. How about Aaron Rodgers taking on the Jets at home, 240.5 passing yards, more or less?
I'm going less. Something's disastrously wrong in Green Bay right now, and having to come back and play just a week after being in London and losing to the Giants the way that they did, he just really doesn't have the pass catching help right now. It's not like he's playing at a super high level himself either. I'm going less.
Are you on team bring OBJ to Green Bay?
OBJ bores me. I think the idea of him is all trapped in amber from his catch in 2014, and he's had some great years, obviously, and he helped the Rams win the Super Bowl last year. But I don't think that he is what he's advertised as. So, bleh.
All right, very good. All right, moving on. Mike Evans, 74.5 receiving yards at Pittsburgh.
He runs a ton of routes, gets targeted on 23% of his routes. It doesn't feel like anyone else in that receiving core is 100%. So I think Evans does clear this, despite my thoughts that Brady goes under that 280 number. I think that Evans is just kind of inevitable. He's a sure thing.
All right, very good. All right, let's go back to that Cleveland and New England game before we move on to the 4:00 slate. I absolutely love Ramondre Stevenson. I'm going to hammer over 75.5 for rushing yards for him this week. What do you think about Stevenson? And I also want to get your thoughts on Zappe fever.
Oh, man. So, yeah, Stevenson looks like he's kind of taken over that backfield, just kind of a sledgehammer of a running back, but a little bit nimble on top of it as well. And the Browns, their run defense is really bad, way less than the sum of its parts. So I think Stevenson really gets going here. It wouldn't completely shock me if he outrushed Nick Chubb in this one, because I just think that the Browns' run defense is that porous right now. They got Garrett and Clowney back last week. Didn't make a difference with Eckler just carving them up. So love Stevenson this week. And then who better than the two of us to talk about Baily Zappe, the Zapper? I mean, we're big college football guys. We're big appreciators of what Zappe did, not just at Western Kentucky, but all the way back at Houston Baptist. Just carving up defenses left and right every single week. I have to start Baily Zappe in a 2-quarterback league. It might not be going particularly well in that league, but hey, here we are. I trust the Zapper, man. And he also reminds me of the great Zapp Brannigan from Futurama. So
there you go. All right. Yeah. So he was an automatic more last year in college football. Pretty much every single week, he was just lighting up. I think he threw for 6,200 yards or something like that at Western.
He threw 62 touchdowns.
62 touchdowns. Okay. I mean, he threw for a lot of yards too. I know that.
Oh, yeah.
He was like flirting with 400 every single week with the Hilltoppers. But anyways, so my thoughts with Zappe is it's fine. Okay. He gets the job done. But when the Patriots schedule actually gets tough coming up, like in November and December, I don't want him anywhere near the field. Right now with these teams, with the Lions and the Browns in the state that they are, and they just ruled out Denzel Ward and Jadeveon Clowney for this week. So he's going to get a break there. He's got the Bears possibly, and then a couple games with the Jets while Mac Jones gets healthy. I don't want him anywhere near the field when they're playing Buffalo or the Dolphins again, or any of those teams down the stretch. But for right now, I really like that he's playing well. And I think he's pushing Mac Jones internally, because Mac, I think, was way too careless with the football the first couple of weeks. He had 5 interceptions in 3 weeks, which is just terrible. So I think that's good. That's good competition, and we'll get Mac Jones back going and hopefully ready to prove himself that he can take that second year jump when he gets back.
I like the spin zone where you know, the iron sharpens iron, the rising tide lifting all ships when it comes to Zappe. You're at least carrying this Patriot, or helping carry this Patriots offense to some wins here, and that getting Mac Jones a little bit fired up. So yeah, I mean, if New England can have Mac Jones only throw the ball 3 times in Buffalo, they can certainly have Zappe play an entire game without throwing a pass. I think if they were put in that.
So we don't have
situation.
a number for Zappe yet on MKF because Mac Jones is practicing all week. They haven't ruled him out yet. It looks like he's moving better, but I do think that Zappe is going to be under center on Sunday. What would you say a good number for him is here? Would you like 165-ish?
Yes, I was going right in that range. And if it's 165, I think I like. Unfortunately, I probably like the less. I just think that this game is all about the run game for New England when they're on offense here, and just kind of when Cleveland has the ball, just hope that Jacoby Brissett makes a mistake. I think that those are just kind of the way that this game, like the parameters are setting up right now.
All right, very good. Let's move on to the 4 o'clock slate. There are 2 other games at 4 o'clock. You got the Cardinals and the Seahawks and the Panthers and the Rams, but I don't think many people are going to be watching those games because the most anticipated game of the NFL regular season is this Sunday, 4:25 in Kansas City. The Bills at the Chiefs. The Bills are favored by 2.5 in this one, trying to get revenge for Josh Allen not being allowed on the field in overtime. Oh no, on the divisional round. But anyways, Josh Allen's number this week is 300.5 passing yards. He's reached 301 or more in 3 of 5 games. The Chiefs have the 24th ranked pass defense, and he went over this number in both games last year against the Chiefs. Does he do that again this year?
Yeah, I think he puts the cape on for this one. I think that the Chiefs have a very bad run defense, but unfortunately the Bills don't really have the personnel to make them pay for that. So I think that this just becomes the Josh Allen show once again, and I definitely see him clearing this number. So give me the more.
Yeah, this is probably my lock of the week. Josh Allen going over 300 yards. Anyways, moving on. Patrick Mahomes, 280.5 passing yards. He's reached 281 or more in 2 of 5 games. Buffalo has the 4th ranked passing defense in the NFL. 2 games last season, 272 in the regular season, 378 yards in the playoffs, John. So I think this is going to come down to game flow for the Chiefs. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good summation of it. I think that Mahomes is someone that's going to rise to the occasion here. I think maybe there's a chance that the lack of Tyreek Hill in this offense, like, it really kind of shows the problems that it's going to bring for this team long term in this game. But as it stands, I think that Mahomes, you know, we're just going to see these 2 great quarterbacks going back and forth, just kind of like naming the score and just almost showing off in a way. So I have a really hard time going against Patrick Mahomes in this type of spot, so I'm going to go with more.
All right, very good. Moving on, Stephon Diggs, 89.5 receiving yards. He's been a monster this season, 90 or more in 3 of 5 games. I've just been blindly hitting the more on Diggs this season. It's working out so far. I am in the green. Casey did a good job putting the clamps on him, though, last year, 69 and 77 yards in those 2 games against the Chiefs. What do you think we see out of Diggs on Sunday?
I'm going to follow your lead here. I'm just going to blindly go with the more here with Stephon Diggs. I think that, you know, he knows that what happened last year. I think that he's going to show up here in a pretty big way. I think that the big long touchdown from Diggs is coming, and it's coming this Sunday.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. And let's spin the wheel with the Buffalo running backs room and their situation. I guess we'll go with Devin Singletary this week. We'll talk about him. 48.5 rushing yards. He's reached 49 just once this season. That was against the Ravens a couple of weeks ago. And this really is he going to get the touches to even get near this number?
I don't believe so. I think, again, the Chiefs' run defense is terrible. Josh Jacobs looked amazing the other night against that front 7. But Singletary is not even in the same stratosphere as Josh Jacobs, and that really kind of is a tough statement for Singletary. I don't think it happens. They mix and match too much in the backfield, and none of those guys individually are all that impressive. So I'm going less.
Wouldn't surprise me at all if Allen leads the Bills in carries this week.
Mm-hmm.
Not at all. All right, moving on. Travis Kelce, 6.5 receptions. He's coming off one of the greatest fantasy lines of all time last week. 7 catches, 25 yards, and 4 touchdowns. The Raiders just forgot to cover him in the red zone on Monday night. He's got 7 or more catches in 3 of 5 games this season. What do you expect out of Kelce on Sunday?
This one dovetails with the Mahomes play. I think that we're going to be seeing potentially a season high in targets for Travis Kelce this week. I will say that the Bills are really tough defensively. They did pretty much shut down Mark Andrews, so that's something to worth note. But I think maybe that caps Kelce's yardage a little bit, but I still think that he's going to be getting enough looks.
I've been going back and forth on who I think is going to win this game, but I'm leaning Buffalo. I just think they're going to try so hard to just light it up and probably pour on the points at the end here and beat the Chiefs on Sunday. So I'm taking the Bills -2.5. How about you?
Yep, same boat here. I think that they go in and get it done and kind of establish themselves officially as that team to beat in the AFC and maybe overall.
Very good. All right, moving on. Sunday night football. Dallas at Philly. The Eagles are favored by 6.5 points. Jalen Hurts, 225.5 passing yards, 55.5 rushing yards. He's reached 226 through the air in 4 of 5, 56 on the ground in 3 of 5. Dallas does have a top 10 pass defense. They are kind of vulnerable against the run, though. And I'm just going to come out and say it. I was so wrong on Jalen Hurts this year. So many people that I heard from back, late summer during the fantasy draft season saying, oh, yeah, I got Hurts. I'm all set at quarterback. I'm like, did you guys not watch this guy in college at all? He has completely redone his mechanics. I was expecting Hurts to be kind of Tebow-like in the NFL, with just kind of that change of pace. Maybe he gets on a hot little win streak. But no, he is a true MVP candidate. And what do you expect out of Hurts this weekend?
He's definitely, silencing the doubters in a lot of ways this year, of course, like you said. But I think this might be the game where, some of those skeptical points that you were thinking of from, his Alabama and his Oklahoma days, they might show up a little bit. I think that, especially if Micah Parsons is healthy here and that pass rush is lively, I think that the Eagles will kind of intrinsically want to shield Hurts from that and not expose him to that type of pass rush. So I think that we're going to see a lower passing volume from Hurts this week. And I think when he does drop back, we're going to see a less effective Hurts than we've gotten used to seeing over the course of the early part of this season. So I'm a little bit skeptical on Hurts this week. I think the Eagles, obviously flying high, only undefeated team in the league, everything like that. But I think that the Cowboys are a live dog here.
Yeah, I like the Cowboys this weekend, especially to cover that touchdown. But anyways, Cooper Rush, 210.5 passing yards. He's reached 211 or more in 3 of 4 starts. He didn't last week against the Rams. He just finished with 102, but the running game for the Cowboys just kind of took that game over. So basically the don't screw it up game plan is working for Cooper Rush. Going to keep working this weekend against an Eagles defense that ranks top 10 against both the run and pass.
Yeah, I'm going to guess that this is more of the same as far as what the Cowboys game plan is. I think that if we do see a situation where Rush is clearing this number, that means that things have otherwise gone very wrong for the Cowboys on Sunday night. And I happen to think that things will go okay for them. So I'm going to go with less for Rush. Less is more when it comes to Cooper Rush.
All right. How about Miles Sanders? 70.5 rushing yards. He's reached 71 in 3 of 5 games. Can he do it again?
I'm the least Miles Sanders guy out there. I think I'm just not a huge fan of his. I don't think he's all that. I don't think he's a huge difference maker. I think the Dallas keeps him relatively contained in this one, even if Philly tries to get the ground game established and mitigate that pass rush.
All right. How about A.J. Brown? 5.5 receptions is his line on MKF. He exploded in week 1 when he had 10 catches for 155 yards. He hasn't had more than 5 catches in a game since. The targets are there, though, but it kind of seems like this passing offense has become the Devonta Smith show. He's got 28 catches in the last 4 weeks.
Right. Yeah. Devonta Smith. It feels like Philly has these only one receiver can go off per week, and it sort of alternates a little bit. I'm going to go with less here for A.J. Brown. I think he gets painfully close. I think maybe he ends up with 5 catches, but I hesitate to go more than that. So I think that Dallas really going to roll coverage to make sure that he gets slowed down, not let him carve them up.
All right, very good. Last up, we'll do CD Lamb, 70.5 receiving yards for CD. He's hit the more on this number in 3 of 5 games. He's averaging over 9 targets a game. Can he get to 71 yards on Sunday night?
71, I'm going to say less. I think that, he ends up closer to the 60s. It looks like the number's trending down to like 64 and a half. That to me is a little bit trickier, of course, than 70, but I'm still going to go with less at that number. I really like CD Lamb, but I think that this is a game that the Cowboys they win it not by going to the air all that much.
All right. And last question on this game. Which Cowboys running back would you start in fantasy this week? Zeke or Tony Pollard?
I'm one of the few holdouts remaining, but I'm still a Zeke guy. I think Tony Pollard, really fun, exciting player, but I think that the more that he's out there, like the less effective his returns are. I think he's better in doses. I think that Zeke is more of like that traditional. You got the bankable workload, even if the numbers aren't as exciting as they once were.
Yeah, Pollard had a good game last week, so I'm going to go with that. It's Zeke's turn this week. There's my analysis this week. Anyways, all right, John. Anything else this week?
Oh, let's see here. I mean, other than just getting ramped up for that coach off on Monday night between Staley and Hackett. You did mention during the 4:00 window Eastern time, of course, that it's going to be hard to pay attention to anything other than Bills Chiefs, and that is accurate. But at the same time, the game that is breaking my brain the most from a gambling perspective this week is Rams Panthers. What do you do with that? Because you can't really trust the Rams to cover a big number, but the Panthers are the Panthers. So that one, I can't figure it out for the life of me. It's unbelievable how much interest I have in a terrible game.
I think it really comes down to, do you buy into the, replacement coach first game that the team kind of rallies around him? But at the same time, that gets negated by Baker Mayfield. So Rams this game's in LA. I'm taking the Rams -10.
But 10 and a half, if you can find it somewhere, I'm kind of leaning Panthers. It's as gross as it gets. It's as hold your nose as it gets, but that's where I'm at.
Yeah, that is a gross game that only Scott Hansen will be enjoying on Sunday, and John when he's checking his phone. But
yep.
Anyways, all right, John, thank you very much for joining us this week and filling in for Nick. Don't forget to check out our college football show, guys. Monster Saturday coming up this week. You can subscribe to our YouTube page at Monkey Knife Fight. All of our content is there, and good luck this weekend and enjoy another great week.